Everyone's cultural identity is unique. Different backgrounds, different customs, just simply different ways of living. I want to take you through my journey of these things and how they fit into what I like to call my cultural identity. I was born in Selmar, California, where my mom, Gilda Rebecca Melendez, and my dad, Roberto Melendez, both brought me into this world. They gave me the culture and guidance to who I am today. My name is Liz Melendez. My mom wasn't born in the United States, rather, she was born in the country of Guatemala. And my dad, who also wasn't born in the US, was born and raised in El Salvador. With both of these combined, my blood is of Central American descent. There is more to my family than just me and my parents. I also have 5 half-sisters and 3 half-brothers. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up with all of them. This is where the uniqueness of my cultural identity comes in. Even though it is part of our culture to be involved in sports, we took our own little twist and added some tradition. My brothers were into track and skateboarding, whereas me and my sisters all joined drill team and created a legacy of our own. And yes, that is me with no teeth. After traveling with this team, getting used to many first place trophies, and winning most of the time, even my mom got jealous and managed to get a trophy of her own. Growing up in the United States, my first language was English. But of course, my mom and my dad wanted to spoon-feed me their native language of Spanish. And like the awesome daughter that I am, I accepted. Because of this is why I am now bilingual, and this is a big part of my cultural identity. But I always wondered, how did my parents get to the US not knowing one word of English? And the answer was music. While my parents loved the famous music of cumbia in Central America, they chose a different route when getting to the US. They would listen to groups like Gladys Knight and the Pips, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, and Bill Withers. And because of their musical choice, it gave my cultural identity the edge of an old soul. But just like my parents, I took a route of my own. I mostly listen to alternative rock with my 2 favorite bands of Monsters and Men and Coldplay. Just like my taste in music, my religion changed as well. Traditionally, I was baptized in a Catholic church. But as I got older, my mom got all of us to join the religion of Mormonism, and we've been Mormon ever since. It was a different transition, but it gave me a different perspective on how I interpret faith. Now let's talk food. This part of my culture is what has stuck the most. From the stuffed tortillas of mixed cheese or beans, aka pupusas, to the amazing combination of rice and beans called casamiento. The tamales of Guatemala that my mom makes of pork simply melts in your mouth. With all of the change that being in the U.S. did for my parents, food is what ties all of us together to our native cultural roots. Now when it comes to clothing is where the change in my cultural identity is mostly seen. In Central America, the attire for natives are usually dresses for women, bright colors, and different patterns. These types of colors and different patterns were exposed when I was young, but as I got older, I tended to go for darker and more neutral colors. The change is what makes me, me. My parents have always lived up to the Central American roles of the man and women. The role of the man is to provide, work, and financially support the family, whereas the woman's responsibility was to cook, clean, and take care of the children. And so they did just that. With uniqueness, connection, and tradition, my family has instilled, and I'm glad I got to share my cultural identity with you. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.